Hey, I just wanted to see if I could get on today. So, y'all come on in. I'm just going to keep myself busy until somebody comes in. Uh-oh. Now, are we good? Y'all want to see this? I want to show you. That is my current diamond painting project. I've been working on this for a week while I've been at my daughter's. She's resting from her surgery well, but it's been a challenge. I know for her. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I just want to live with the knee pain or if I want to go through this. I'm not real sure. Hey, how are you? Annabeth, your other channel is signed out and I don't have time to sign back in. You know what? That happens to me more than I want to admit. A couple of weeks ago, I was trying to get on and somehow I got myself signed out and I actually got myself locked out because I had to go through and get all of the accounts signed back in. And I had to go get my son to help me get it straightened up because it was so messed up. And you know what? It took him like 3 minutes. Thank you. You like the diamond painting? This is one that I actually have a mail call I need to do. I need to get it posted. It was with a batch that my sister sent to me. And thank goodness she did because I really needed something to do this week. But that is so pretty, isn't it? With the pansies. Except I'm not crazy about the wording right here. It's supposed to say welcome spring, but I can't read it. It doesn't really make any sense. But I haven't taken it out yet. So I don't know. I may take it out. I may just leave it. But I only have this top portion to finish. Just, you can see here where the glue is still at and where my diamonds stopped, a little bit down here. So I don't really like that much, but it keeps me busy and I take breaks. Hey, Miss Gummy, I was just showing Annabeth the painting you sent to me. I've got it, let's see, 3/4 of the way at least, but it's really pretty. I think it's going to look good in my bathroom. Do you think? Maybe in my little boudoir. Hey, Kansas Misfit. Thank you. I'm glad you came. I am going to try to get my names written down so that I can go and visit all of your channels. I usually have to go back after the live replay shows up and check everybody's name out. Let's see. Annabeth, do you want to mod for me today? Because I don't see any of my other mods yet, but it doesn't mean they're not going to be here. But just in case we get one of those bad boys, I only add people that Um, look at there's too many choices here. I add people that I know I can trust and I know well, um, and that they were willing. Because you may know how to do it, but it does take time. It takes time away from the chat also. Um, I have Kansas Misfit. Have you not been in my live stream before, or it's been a while? Um, I'm gonna write it down just so I can check it out. Now, I do not mind, um, Annabeth, you can drop links to any of the channels that are visiting today so that we can go and check their channels out. And your name is Marcia. Okay, great. Um, so we can go and check their channels out and support them a little bit. Because even before I get to the 1,000, I'm pretty close. I do like to do that because my um, my motives for my channel may be different from other people's. I'm just on here to make friends and share some things, but later on down the road, if I make some, money from ads and stuff, that's okay. Um, um, yes, Gummy Doolittle, uh, tell Marcia how you got your name, and some of the others may want to know also. Uh, Gummy says, Linda and I get our DPs from Amazon or Temu, mostly in a couple other sites. Yeah, and she got some really good deals. I think this one came in like either 9 or 11. I can't remember how many there was. But there were only a couple of bucks a piece. So if you really want to get started, you don't have to start with some of the diamond paintings that are licensed. On some of these design sites, some of them can be 40, 50, $60 a piece. So if you just want to play around with it and, do some things that are fun, this is the best place. Um, hey, Guru and Wahoo the Turtle, it was nice to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Uh, and let's see, who else? Did I miss someone else? No. Oh, it's been a minute, Kansas Misfit. I thought that I had recognized your name, but I wasn't sure how long. Um, I lose track of time. I do. Um, can give out as gifts. Yes, yes, Marcia, that's true. Um, she sent quite a few of them to me, and she kept some for herself. Um, we're both working on a little project that we're going to be uh, just kind of discussing in the next year. So it's not at that point where we're going to discuss it, but we are working on a little project ourselves. Gummy says my great grandson couldn't say Grammy or Granny, so he called her Gummy. Later, as teens, the grandkids said I never did anything for them, so I decided Gummy Doolittle was a good name. Yeah, because I think one of the oldest ones said, Gummy, you do little for me or something. So it kind of stuck. But yeah, I wanted a different name. I didn't want to be called Granny for my grandkids. I thought I was too young. And so I chose the name Nana. So my grandkids call me Nana, not Nana, because my mother was Nana or Mima. So I didn't want the same name. So mine call me Nana. It was fun, and yes, it stuck. And now everyone when the grandkids call her Gummy, it's really cute. It's really cute. Um, Now I knew a little girl. I knew a family, and she called her grandmother Honey. And that was so cute, and one day I asked her, I said, "Why does she call you Honey?" She said, "Because my husband's always coming along, and he instead of using my name, he would say honey this and honey that." Well, when the little girl started calling her something, she picked up Honey. It was a pet name for her husband, so it was kinda cute too. Um, my mom is called Nanny to my nieces, and your mother is Jennifer, correct? Yes. Um, I think that's cute too. We have to have, and I later learned that Nana was also used in the German language for their nanas as grandmother. So I didn't know that. Let's see. Oh, your foster mom was growing up was also called Nanny. Yeah. Now, um, here on my farm, my youngest son, he built a little studio apartment, efficiency apartment for his mother-in-law, and his children call her Nanny, and she has separate entrance and everything. But she lives at his place, and so we have a nanny and a nana here on the farm. So yeah. Oh, let's see. I missed it, Marcia. Been really busy. My husband slipped off the roof and busted his back, had surgery, and we're finally getting back to as close to normal as it can be expected. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I know that's a long journey back to health, isn't it? Hey, out and about with Sam I am. I haven't seen you in a minute either. It's good to see you. Um, and my mod is going to drop some channel links. And so if you don't know someone, please go over and visit them. And even if you do, I have discovered in the last couple of months, there are many people that I have been unsubscribed to that I didn't do. One of them was to myself. I have a second channel. For those who don't know, it's a craft channel. This channel, 6 Acres, was unsubscribed to my second channel. So you know that I didn't do that. So even if you know them and you've been watching them for a while, um, go over ever so often. If you think about, say, I hadn't heard from so and so, like Sam I am, go over and check it out, because you may be unsubscribed to them, and that's why you're not receiving notices. But I was not getting notices from some of my top channels that I had watched from the beginning. Sorry about the dog. She's hearing me talking. um, let's see, Annabeth, when you drop links, you just go to their channel and copy it. Share, you hit share, and then you copy it, and then you bring it back over here and paste it in the comments. That's the way I do it. There may be an easier way, but that's the way I do it. I'm mod for a couple of people, but I'm learning too. I'm learning way slow. So yeah, out and about. Um, I'm gonna write the ones down that I have not visited in a bit, and I'm gonna go back and double check and make sure that I show you some love on your channel. Um, so in the last, let's see. Oh, who went fishing? Okay, I missed it. I just looked away. um, I really want to go fishing. The pond is calling my name. And a couple of weeks ago, oh, I wished I had that that picture that I wished I had a picture I could put up. My daughter-in-law and the kids found a huge turtle. He's soft shell. I might, let's see. I don't know if I can show it, but I did save the picture because it was just, I mean, an enormous turtle. and they called it they looked like an alligator or a dinosaur or something. The kids were going nuts with it, but they couldn't catch it because it was very fast. Now the dog wanted to. Where is it? You can never find a photo when you want it, right? I don't know. It's not working. I can see my photos, but I don't have any internet to do that. I don't know why. Um, but it was a really big turtle. And a couple of years ago, I made a homemade turtle trap. Have y'all ever done that? I took a laundry basket, and yes, I did YouTube it. And I figured out how to make me a turtle trap. And I caught 17 turtles, I believe, out of the pond. And I rehomed them to a pond that was way down the creek, out in the woods. Let's see. Um, Kansas says, I've never known how to do it. I'm a mod and in two old people on a couch. Oh, you are, but they have lots of mods. Yeah, they do. They have a lot of mods. Um, and I've just learned a little at a time. I became a mod to the lady who got me started, Kathy at Living Miracle Homestead. And I said, I don't know what to do. And she says, you'll learn. Just watch and learn, and I'll tell you what you need to do. So she's taught me what I need to know. Sam says I caught one little brim. Catfish wasn't biting. Believe it or not, I caught that brim on a chunk of Slim Jim. He hit it like a bass. One of the favorite things that my grandkids like to use is, it was really by accident. I burned, which I do often. I burned a grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, it was black. And so I cut it up into little tiny chunks, and it had cheddar cheese in it. So it really stuck, the bread really stuck to it. And I put little tiny chunks, and um, I put that on the line, and oh my gosh, the catfish loved it. Loved it. I mean, I've tried hot dogs with Jello, and I've tried rotten hot dogs. They eat everything. But now there's some bass in there, and they will eat the little pieces of chicken. And one time I used fried chicken skin. It was real crispy and hard, and I put it in a little Ziploc, and it got softer. And I put that in there, and I sprinkled some garlic salt on it. Oh my gosh, they love it. So I hardly ever use worms. I usually use whatever's left over in the refrigerator, and they eat it. They like it. And the kids think it's funny to put grilled cheese on there. So yeah, I caught a medium-sized bass this morning. Bubblegum worms and rooster tails work best for bass. Okay. Um, I don't really have I don't really have a lot of lures. Um, I don't know why. I'm sure there's some in the barn up there somewhere that I have to go through, and because we actually have done some fishing on the beach. So as a matter of fact, I caught a shark. Y'all know I caught a shark. It was about 18 inches long. Scared the holy crap out of me too, because it was a shark. It was a spotted dog shark or something. I caught it over in Ocracoke on the Outer Banks, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to, but we use live bait. They like live bait. So we cut it up. Chicken livers, yes, chicken livers is one of my favorite things. Oh, let's see, chicken livers tied up in a swath of pantyhose works great for catfish. Really? They don't swallow it? Because usually time we pull the catfish in, the hook is there, but they've already swallowed the bait, but they get hooked anyway. That's pretty good though. Annabeth says my biggest bass I ever caught was on a piece of bread. Wasn't very big, but it was for me. Only about a pound. You know what? I do take my scale down there because the kids like to, they want to weigh it. And but they really want to know how long it is because we always have a little, um, it's kind of a little contest. And the littlest kids, they're now 8 and 10, something like that, 8 and 9. Geez, I forget now. Uh, one of them just had a birthday too. Um, it's like, "Oh, mine's bigger. Mine's 15 inches and yours is only 16 inches." And then if that doesn't work, then we do a contest of who caught the most. And any size counts. So they like that part of the contest because, little ones are easier to catch. They swallow it, but the chicken liver can get sucked off the hook that way. Oh, yeah. Catfish turns into sharks for bloody smell. Oh, I know it. They do. So now I've got to get the turtle out of my pond because that big old dinosaur turtle went right in my pond. It was after that 6 inches of rain we had a few weeks ago. Um, so about a week later, this big turtle shows up, and I'm pretty sure he came from the neighbor's pond. They have a real big one, and I would have seen him before then because he's huge. Kansas Misfits, we have a creek on our property. I can't get down to it. I love fishing. I can't afford a fishing license. Can't wait till I'm 65 and free fishing. 5 more years to wait. Yeah, we have um, we have a it's like a public pond, but it's run by the Corps of Engineers. Um, but they have different ponds where they actually grow fish. They have one pond called the Rod Bender. So you can imagine one. And once a year, they let children um, fish out of one of these ponds, usually a catfish pond. And they can catch up to 5 fish and take home free. But they have to be under 16 years old and no help from the adults. So the last time we only caught a couple, but some of them will bring families of 5 and 6 kids and they're carrying them out on these big bamboo poles, these big old fish. We weren't that lucky. So yeah, but it is fun. And the kids do not have to have a fishing license. If they're 16 and under, they during that event day, they don't have to have a license. Now I did. If I want to fish out of one of those ponds, I could go back on a different day, but I have to have a license. And I think the last time I got it was $35. So, but it's just good fun. But uh, building the turtle trap, if you have never built one, I took a good sized laundry basket, not the little one, but as big as I could get and as tall as I could get. And I bought two of those um, dollar store pool noodles, got some zip ties, and I put pool noodles around all the way around all four sides, right underneath the handles. So I had something to hook it onto. And then um, I put some hardware cloth that I had from left over from the chickens. I put on one end, I zip tied it so that it would float in the water, and they could actually it would go underneath the water, and they would crawl up that hardware cloth and go in. Well, the first one I did, I had to add a board to the middle of it because they like to walk across those like tree limbs and stuff. So I put this little board on there and they'll walk across the board and then they fall in and they can't get back out. So, and there's plenty of water, so they don't drown and they don't, you know, stay out of the water too long. Hey, who did I just see? Corner Clubhouse Cobalt. How are you? Nice to see you. Um, so yes, that was um my turtle trap, and I loaned it to a friend, and um I never saw it again. So I guess they had turtles too. So they worked on that for a while. But I'll make a new one. It really didn't cost a lot to make it, but it really did work. Out and about. Okay. The alligator snapping turtle will eat everything in the pond. Might have to call the turtle man live action. Yes, that's why I have to get him out of there because he'll eat everything. Um, I have seen some little tiny turtles, but they're not the big snapping turtles like this one is. So this is going to be something that I'm going to have to take care of in the next month or so. Turtle soup, yes. You know what, Sam? I grew up on turtle soup. I think my mom even fried it because those turtles are huge, and we grew up on wild meat, a lot of wild meat, and turtles was one of them. And I was under 13 years old. I really don't recall what they tasted like, but um, I think it would be good. I grew up on rabbit too, so we had plenty of rabbit too. Usually fried or dumplings. So yeah, that's just telling you my age. Yeah. So I should be getting a free license now because I've turned 65. So I need to check into that. I need to see what it would cost. Now I don't know about Georgia or if it's every state. Do you happen to know that, Marcia? Um, or if that's just your state. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, for those were in here, it'll be repeat of what I'm going to tell you, but we were talking about things that we like, hobbies, things that we like to do, or jobs that we've had. And I said I was going to make a list, and you wouldn't believe how big my list is. So, and you would be surprised if you start writing down some of this stuff, how many jobs you've had. And it doesn't have to be careers, it can just be jobs, things that you did for pay or barter, even. And this is my list, y'all. Is that a lot of stuff? One column is for jobs that I've had, starting with the first one that I remember. And for some of um, the hobbies that I've had, some of them I've gotten paid for, but they weren't really considered jobs. Y'all want to hear what some of them were? We got plenty of time. Okay, my very first job that I remember that I actually got paid for, I was about 10 years old. And we had a mower, and I mowed lawns. And it wasn't a push mower. It did have gas because I remember carrying the gas can. But I mowed this lawn, and to me, it seemed like it was 4 acres. It was huge, but it was probably only a half an acre. But to a 10-year-old, it was a lot. Okay, I mowed this lawn, and I strictly remember um, mowing it, and the lady gave me a couple of dollars to mow this lawn, and she gave me a big old bag of fresh tomatoes, and my mother was happy about that. But at first, $2, and I thought, only $2? I mean, that was so much, and I was so tired. And I had to walk and push the mower to where I was going to do it, which was probably a half a mile. So um, that was my first job that I got paid for, that I know I earned $2 and a bag of tomatoes. And but I never complained because it fed us. That was my first job. My second job that I remember, I was 15, and my grandmother got me a job at night when she worked as a short order cook in a cafe, a truck stop. She got me a job washing dishes, and it wasn't just washing a dish and putting it over. You had to load these big trays, lift them down in this soapy water, and then you had to run them through this conveyor thing. I mean, it was a hard job. And I remember because I got $1.86 an hour, and I was so proud of that. For this was back in the 69. I was very proud of it because, it was my first job. Um, from there, I don't know how long I did that. Now I think I was trying to do a waitress job there at the cafe. Um, but I remember spilling someone's egg slid into somebody else's plate. I was trying to put them on my arm. So I think I was a waitress for one day. I decided that wasn't my job. But those, the cafe plates and dishes are very heavy. They're stoneware and they're very heavy. And some of those waitresses, they'd come out with 5 plates on their arms. They'd stack them all the way down their arms. And I know I had 2 or 3 on my arm. And when I got to the table, somebody's eggs was in somebody else's plate. And it's like, oh, shoot, I had to go back and get their plate made again. So I didn't do that for very long. Sam says my first job ever was a farmhand on her own farm. Payment was supper and mama's fresh cake or pie. Yes, her biscuits made you remember what you're working for. Yes, and you were proud to do that too, I'm sure. So yes, we did get, we had a lot of jobs. I mean, we had to help. We were, at that time, um, my mother, shortly, I guess around that time, my mother was a widow and she had 5 children under 16. And so everything we did, so that lawn that I cut, she probably kept the $2 too. I didn't have any need for it. I didn't go anywhere, but hey, Wild Home, how are you? Good to see you. So we're so that was my first and my second job. My third job, I worked in a little place called the Frosters Freeze, and it was in Oildale, California, I think. And I was the ice cream dipper. So you would make the soft serve ice creams, and you had to turn them upside down and dip them in the hot chocolate stuff to make the hard shell and get them out before they fell in the hot chocolate. And believe me, I dropped a few. So that was and I got paid, and I don't remember how much I got paid for that job. I might have had a raise. I might have made $1.80 an hour. But definitely it was a fun job. And I was 16 and I used to ride my 10-speed because I didn't drive. So I rode my 10-speed everywhere. Uh, Kansas Misfits in my first job was babysitting and cleaning the teacher's house. Okay. Yeah, babysitting is on my next one. I did babysitting and I don't know if I got paid for it, but I did a lot of babysitting. Um, I did a lot of babysitting. And then uh, when I was 18, when I was 17, I graduated from high school. And then I moved. I got on the Greyhound bus and I went to Portland, Oregon, and I got a job at a place called Tektronix. And Tektronix is still there today. As a matter of fact, one of my friends that worked with me there, she has been there 35 years. So she's still there. And it was a very good job, very well paying job. We made computer components. I remember making a knob for an oscilloscope, which is, for those who don't know, it is an instrument in the hospital, oscilloscopes. And I made these knobs, and they had 27 parts in these knobs, and there were transistors and different things. So that's what I did for 2 years. And then I got homesick and I had to go back home, because my girlfriend got married and I was left, and it's like, so I was really sad. I worked at the federal building in Portland, Oregon for 4 years. Really? Yeah. The little town I worked in was called Beaverton, and it's just it's kind of, I guess it's east of Portland. I mean, it's right on the outskirts, kind of like, these little towns where you have a big town and there's a bunch of little ones around them. But that's where I worked, and I worked with computer components, and I could build 30 knobs at a time, and I did soldering, and I put all the resistors in and did boards. And so that was my job for a couple of years, and I really did like it. If I stayed up there, I probably would have still been working with him. You know where it is? Yes. My girlfriend's family lived in Forest Grove, and we got our first apartment together. And of course, her parents were very, they were very, uh, they were missionaries. They adopted these 2 little girls through their church, and they always made sure we had food and, because we were 18 years old and we were on our own, but we didn't have to have a car because the plant was right across the road from our apartment, so we would just walk to work. But when she got married, I was left alone and I didn't want another roommate. Kansas says I worked with my mom at a company similar to yours. We seeded wires for machines. It was fun working with my mom. Yeah, I mean, it was really a good job and a very well-paying job even for back then, and I'm sure it's a well-paying job now. And I still have the letters. I got letters of recommendation because I was a good worker and I did my job and I didn't cause any trouble, and I actually started training other people to do my job. So I got into that. So I would have done really well if I would have stayed up there and didn't get homesick. My next job, I learned to sew when I was in 6th grade. So the next job I did, I actually sewed clothes and different things for other people, and I did get paid for that, and I learned to decorate cakes, and that was the Wilton cake decorating for those who remember that. Sam says I also worked at Universal Forest Products in Woodburn, Oregon for 3 years. They make all wood and vinyl fencing for Home Depot. Really? That's one I haven't heard of. I haven't heard of Woodburn, Oregon. I'll have to look that up and see where it's at. Um, but I loved that little area. I still have a friend who lives in Vancouver, just across the river. She was the one that I went up there with, and she stayed and her family stayed. So she's still up there. Uh, my my next job was I worked in a factory in Hot Springs, Arkansas after I got married, and I worked at night. I had 2 babies at home, and my husband kept the babies, and we were looking for work. He was cutting grass, and, we were looking for work. There was no work in the electrical, union, and I made housing for plastic mixers and, the housing for, like, hair dryers and, irons. And honestly, if I had to do it today, I would be scared of the job I did because this huge um, machine, it would fill up this cavity and it would mold the part. And when the door opened, you had to reach in real fast and pull it off. Honestly, if I could just think of it now, it's like, oh my gosh, I could have lost my arm because then it closes, this big vise closes. And I don't know how long I did that, but, until my husband got day work probably. But that was scary just to think about how dangerous that was, and it was at night, so you only had 15 seconds to get that part off and get your arm back out. So, yeah, I learned how to coordinate that really fast. Woodburn is about halfway between Salem and Portland. Okay, on I-5. Yeah, I'm sure I have been through there. Now, Cannon Beach was my favorite beach up in Oregon, my favorite beach. And I'm not a beach person. I'm really a mountain person, but that was my next job. You wouldn't believe what I did. I raised parakeets. My brother had these big, huge parakeet barns that he built, and him and his wife, they raised these parakeets, and then they would ship them off to pet stores. So, I mean, it was really a fun job. So I was a parakeet keeper. And then I got married and moved to Arkansas, so then I didn't raise parakeets anymore. Um, so yeah, I have done a few. Let's see. Then when I got done with the factory job, I worked at Taco Bell and I worked at Walmart. So many of us probably have done some kind of food service and um, but one of the box stores that's very popular with younger people. And mind you, I only graduated high school. I didn't have any college, but because of all of these jobs, I realized I needed a little bit of college. So I went to secretarial school. I got a partial grant and I went to secretarial school. I was a stenographer. I studied, I didn't really like that, but I was good at it, but I just didn't really like it. So, but stenographer was one of mine. I was a grocery store checker. How many of us have done that? Either bag groceries, and let me tell you, I can bag groceries. I know what goes with what and what doesn't. And you do not throw bananas on milk. I have seen that done. I don't know how many times. It just drives me nuts. Um, what else did I miss? Anybody? I missed salmon scooping in the Columbia River. Oh, on the Columbia River, salmon so thick you only need a net to catch them. Really? Now, when we were in Alaska, that's one thing we didn't do in Alaska is I really wanted to go fishing. But and we said if we ever go back, we'll just fly to Sitka or something, and we'll just go fishing and stay the week. We won't do a cruise like we did before. It's a little bit. I didn't get to see. They take you into places and they rush you out, and so you really don't get to see the sights like I really wanted to. I worked several years in the grocery stores. Marcia says, "Yeah, this store that I worked in was my brother's store, and he started teaching me how to bag groceries, and then later I got to check groceries, and I worked up there for a couple of years. I enjoyed it. I wasn't married at the time. That was during the time when I came back from Oregon and I needed a job, and he gave me a job in his store. And so, I will do anything. After I did the secretarial school, I got a job in the medical field, and I was an ICD-9 coder, and I would code the procedures that people had and bill their insurance. So I was an insurance processor, and I did that, believe it or not, for 15 years. Even when I came to Georgia, I did that. So I stayed with that for several years. Marcia says I served 6 years in the Army National Guard. Thank you for your service. That is amazing. Um, that is one thing that I never did. One of my brothers went to the military. I'm planting beans while listening to your life. Oh, good. You won't get bored with planting beans and listening, right? Okay, let's see. Talk about the gardens. I actually went to classes and I am a master gardener. Y'all didn't know that, did you? So I do keep a garden, not as much as I should, but I did landscaping. I had a lawnmower and I cut other people's grass. I would hook that lawnmower up and hook the trailer up and take my lawnmower wherever. If my husband wasn't working, he would go with me. He'd do the weed eating while I would do the lawn work. So I did lawn work for several years. And I don't actually know how I did it now because I don't like to work in the heat anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's age, but I was 20 years younger than I am now when I did that. So I am a master gardener. We did house painting. We painted other people's rooms, and we did that as a job. So we were house painters, and we did help both of our children build their houses. So my husband, that's all him. That I did the stuff, that need the cleanup, and I was the what do you call it? Um, I was just the gopher, but I did house painting. So that was one that I did. And he and I traveled for 10 years. Whenever we had time off, we traveled all over the United States and we were antiquers, kind of like the ones that go everywhere. They had the TV show. We didn't make any money, but we traveled every state in the lower 48, but Michigan. So that is still my wild home says you really are a lovely person. So nice to hear you back in the day recollections. Isn't that nice though? But you used to have to stop and think, you probably did more jobs or had more interest. And I haven't even gotten to the hobbies that I love to do. Those are just things that I did to earn money to make a living. And I don't watch TV really. very little. I listen to books on tape, and I watch YouTube videos. That's my entertainment plus my crafts and my animals. Let's see. We were antiquers. Um, we took the furniture that we found, and I refinished furniture. He repaired. I refinished. I painted furniture, and I restored them to a new life or better than they had. So we did that for 10 years, and I ran 2 very successful antique booths, um, and did really well. So, but mind you, I quit working at 45. I quit actually working. So my paying job ended 25 years ago. So I've been doing a lot of this just to make ends meet. Um, let's see. Now 7 years ago, I became a farmer. I learned how to birth all kinds of animals. I never thought I would ever help goats born. I give injections, I trim hooves, I do the vet work when I can. So I do all of that. I care for my chickens and my ducks and every animal we have on the farm. So I became a farmer, and that was just accidental. I started rescuing farm animals. Um, Marcia says that's how my husband cares for us. He owns his own business doing lawn care and landscaping on other homes in northern Kansas. We raise cattle, and I have CRP land. What is CRP? I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure you're going to tell me though, right? While I'm waiting on that. So yes, last year I learned to shear my sheep and my alpacas because I couldn't get the shears out here. So that's something that I had to learn to do. I've learned to process their fiber, and I've actually made yarn out of their fiber. So that's something I designed my own drop spindles because I couldn't afford a spinning wheel. So I just designed my own drop spindles and I made some yarn. Um, I learned how to do needle felting and wet felting. And yes, I did sell those items for money. So that was just one of the ways that I help support the rescue animals that I take in. We are nonprofit, but we don't do regular donations. If somebody wants to donate something to help us feed them, we take it, but we don't go out and actually seek money, on a regular basis. You're a jack of all trades. It's untouchable land for wildlife, and government pays us not to touch the land. Okay. Gummy says, my first job I had in grade school, like seventh grade, I think, I was asked to take a tray of food from school across the yard to the principal's home for his wife. I didn't get paid, but you got free lunches. I didn't know you did that. I did not know you did that. See there? There's things even I don't know about my own sister. Okay, my jobs are almost done. Um, I'm still farming though. That is one thing I'm still doing is farming, and I'm still rescuing animals on a limited basis. I do remote petting zoos. Um, I do them for underprivileged, handicap. I do them for schools. We have an adult handicap daycare that I do. Those are all remote. I actually go to birthday parties with remote petting zoo and events, like festivals and stuff. So I still do that. Yes, I did, Linda. It was in Lone Grove. Oh, okay. I was younger. uh, I lose my head with excitement when I go fishing. I must be a bit annoying to fish beside. I can't help it though. No, I've got 2 little grandkids, and they catch a fish and they go bananas. It's like, okay, the fish can hear you. They get really excited. And one of them will fish until, all day. And the other one, once she's not fishing anymore and she's not catching anything, she's done. She's done. So we all have our excitement in different ways. Um, I actually, with my husband, we ran a baseball card shop. I used to know all these players, and it was called a baseball card shop, but we had football and all kinds of other cards too. Um, we did that for probably almost 10 years. And at one time, when the baseball cards kind of fizzled out, we turned it into a gift shop. And we carried girly things, but we still carried the cards, the baseball cards, and that was in the 90s. And we did that um, before we did the antiques. So we did that for quite a while, and we used to travel to different shows, and people really they get into those baseball cards. The most expensive box of cards we ever had was $450. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember somebody writing me a check for $450 for one box of cards, really limited cards. And these are packs that had not been opened. They were probably trying to get a Michael Jordan or something. So I did that with my husband and my kids. My kids actually learned to do that. So we've done a lot. At the moment, I am a caregiver only because my daughter's had surgery, but it's just a short term, unpaid job, but still very rewarding. And I also serve on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce for my local county, and that is an unpaid job also. So right now, I guess that's all my jobs. I have just taken you through 50 years of jobs, and I probably forgot something. But if you sit down, that'll be like homework, y'all. Sit down and just start thinking about what kind of jobs do I remember, whether they were paid or not. You'd be really surprised what kind of jobs that you had that you forgot. And I did. I've been making this list for several days, and I wake up in the middle of the night and say, "Oh, I remember doing that, and I didn't get paid for that." So yeah, I have done a couple of the petting zoos that uh, there's a set fee for those because I have to travel. There's a couple of them that I didn't get paid for, but you know it's hard for me to say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore because these were all children in wheelchairs, and yeah, I can't not do it. But I have one in the summer already, and I've done them for 3 years in a row. So I still do that also. And sometimes if I have baby goats to adopt, they adopt them on that day that I go. So I still do it. Gummy says you forgot the most important job of your life, wife, mother, and grandmother. Yes, that's right. I have 3 children, 3 living children. I did lose one, but I have 3 living children and 6 grandchildren. So that is a job. There's not always any money that comes from that job, but there's a lot of rewarding times. Marcia says, my mom only worked 3 jobs in her life: waitress, pizza, but uh, Gentronics. Oh, yeah, with the Gentronics with you. Yeah. My grandfather and brother paid me a penny to shell and pick up bullet shells. Really? Wow. Now, you might consider this a job. Uh, Me and my siblings, we used to go and pick up pop bottles on the uh, um, Route 70. It was in Oklahoma. We used to pick up those pop bottles, and most of the time we would buy bread or bologna. That was like gourmet lunch meat, bologna. And so we got paid for picking up pop bottles. And then there wasn't a big thing about aluminum cans, it was all pop bottles. So yeah, my wild home, we don't watch TV either. We love YouTube real life channels. Yes, I do. I like real life channels, and I like channels who are not really scripted. I like just natural things that happen. So we boo boo, sometimes it doesn't go like you really wanted it to go, but we're not making sitcoms. We're just showing real life. So that's the kind that I really like to watch. Gummy says, my second job and paid was at Walt's Hamburgers. I can still smell the yummy burgers, and I was 16 years old. Yes, I remember that job she did. Um, Walt's Hamburgers. I think I got about $6 altogether. I'm not old enough to get a job yet. I hope to volunteer at the Humane Society for a few years. But you know what, Annabeth, you really are, um, you're going to school, and there are things, even volunteering is a job. It's just an unpaid job, just like my unpaid job with the Chamber of Commerce. And I was only filling in for someone, and I've been doing it now for a couple of years, and actually got voted in to do my own term. So I filled somebody else's year that was left, and now I'm working on mine. And it's an unpaid job, but there's a lot, but we're doing things for our community. So you can have many jobs that are not paid. Uh, Marcia says, I have 3 living children, lost my second one from my husband kicking me across the room, and 15 grandchildren. Oh, I'm so sorry. Um, that is very tough. Mine was because I was exposed to chicken pox, and I was in the home for 6 weeks before I was expecting, and I did not know. And I carried the baby 6 months and actually delivered him at home, on my own. So I guess I started that a long time before I started delivering animals. But that was very traumatic, and I'm very sorry for that you having to go through that. Um, let's see. Yeah. Um, yes, and when Annabeth finishes her schooling, I'm sure that she's going to get a really good paying job, a rewarding job. And you may have several jobs in your life, and you may have only one career, but all of my jobs have just been jobs. They have not been careers. I didn't go to the military, um, you know, but I feel like I'm pretty well rounded. I've done a lot of stuff, and I've had fun doing it. So I'll try anything. There's many things I'm sure um, that I'll still be doing, that I just won't be doing as much because of my bad knees now. So yeah, y'all want to hear real quick some of the hobbies that I've tried? Now, there's a couple of these that are really interesting. Oh, let's see, there's one here. I take that back. This one was a job, and I put it on the wrong thing. I was a census indexer for the 1940 census. What I did is I took the census records that were handwritten and transposed them um, on computer so that the census could be released. And that census was released in 2012 was the 1940 census. I was already doing genealogy, which was not a paid hobby, but I'm still doing that. But I was an indexer for the census, and I only did that one time, but I would love to do it again. It was really a lot of fun. Um, so I've been doing genealogy since 1984, and I also was a proofreader. I did get paid for this one too. I take that back. I was a proofreader for some novels where I would go in and look for typographical errors and things. So I did that for a few books. I was trying to find something that I could do at home, and I did both of those during the same period of time. I had kids at home, and I couldn't leave home, and that was it. Uh, and I also had to do with genealogy. I was a headstone. Um, what I did was I would do charcoal. Um, it was like rubbings, they called them. You'd put special paper, onion skin, or different tracing paper over the headstones that you could not read, and you would take charcoal and you would rub it across them, kind of like you would if you were taking a pencil and rubbing it across paper to try to figure out what was written on it. And I did that to try to decipher the dates. And I love going to, um, Civil War areas in the cemetery, and um, especially those that you cannot read. So I actually did that to try to document, you know, what, you know, the families and stuff. That was very interesting. But it was a charcoal rubbings on the headstones. So you wouldn't have thought that, huh? There's some of these y'all may not think. I did the gardening. I told you I did the gardening. That was at home. I had at one time 68 different roses, among other fruit trees and plants and stuff. But I loved roses, so that was one of my benefits of being a master gardener, was taking care of my rose garden. And let's see. This one goes back a long ways. I was a pen paler. When I was 18 years old, I was living in Oregon away from home, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, won't you be a pen pal? You can write to all kinds of people." Well, I ended up marrying one of those pen pals, and we've been married 46 years. So that was a hobby, but it turned out to be a lifestyle too. So that was really interesting. And one time, the magazine that I got this pen pal site out, it was the it was called Sheila Wood Have a Friend Club, and it was on the back of one of these little drugstore, not the Inquirer, but it was the Globe or something like that. They actually offered me $100 one time to tell my story. We had been married 5 years, and I didn't want to take it because they wanted a picture of my children. And now my children are all over Facebook. But they actually offered me money for my story. I wonder what they would pay now. That might be something to think about. 46 years, they may be really interested in my life story now. I'll have to think of that one. We were avid travelers. Uh-huh. Oh, you, Marcia, I don't see myself like that. I just see that, I just like to live life, and I've just always liked to try something different. And, you know, we've traveled in all of the lower 48 states except for Michigan. I will take care of that one day. Um, we've done half of Route 66, but we have traveled all over the United States. We went to Spain and Morocco. We've been to Alaska and Canada, um, where and Hawaii. So those are the only places I've been that's actually not in the United States. Um, let's see, a sewer, a quilter, did needlepoint, embroidery, crochet, knitting. Now I added this year, I learned to knit. I did rug hooking. I learned how to hook rugs, macrame. I painted ceramics. Um, I've done pencil sketching and painting. I've done resin artworks where I've actually made my own, coasters and different things, jewelry and stuff. Um, I have done that. Um, I'm a beekeeper. So that's really, one day I'll get paid when I sell my honey. So I can move that to the other category. I told you that I was an antique collector, and I also did. You'd like to go to the UK one day? You know what? I would too. I would love to go. I always wanted to go to England. I always wanted to go to Scotland and Ireland. And I learned through genealogy that I had people. That's where I came from. Um, so I really wanted to go there also. I'm with you there on that one. I did alcohol ink art, and I actually made my own alcohol inks because they were so expensive. So I made my own. I'm a soap maker. I make soap. I spin yarn. Um, I have taken many, many photos. So I'm just an amateur photographer, though. And we used to watch birds, and we used to do geocaching. Do you remember what that is? Does anybody remember? We still have a couple of geocaches in our county, and we're looking to add more. So that is still around. I've done jewelry. Done clay. I've made jewelry and beads and stuff with clay. Love fishing. That's one of my hobbies that I absolutely love fishing. During the pandemic, I have made, with the help of my sister, um, we have made over 500 face masks, and many of those I donated um, to the local schools, especially. So I did sell some, but we've made over 500. And she would cut them out and send them to me, and I would sew them. And, I did chain sewing. So we did a lot. That was during the pandemic when we all had to be face masked. Um, and of course, I guess it's a hobby, is my two YouTube channels. So Little Wendy's Daydreaming is where my crafts are at, and of course here. So those are some of the things that I did. Oh, did I tell you that I sewed my own wedding dress? I did. My sister cut it out. I think my mom and my sister bought the fabric. They sent it from California to Oklahoma, and I sewed my um, own wedding dress. And I got married in a little town called Ringland, Oklahoma, and it was the winter camp for the Ringling Brothers Circus. So, see, you just never know what you're going to learn, right? Yes. Uh, Sewing is not difficult. And it really, I mean, even though it had two layers, it had lace and taffeta. Um, but I did it, and I learned to quilt. I've learned to hand quilt, and I quilt by machine too, but I've learned to quilt. And so, yeah, there's still a lot of things there's still more things I need to do, don't y'all think? So that's some of the things that I've done. I'm thinking now, games. Has anybody ever played Bunko? That's one of the games that I learned while I was up in Oregon, and I filled in for my girlfriend's mother. She had this bunco. I mean, it was a big thing up there with bunco. You have to look that up. Google that. For y'all don't know what bunco is. That was something that I had not heard of, and I learned to play that. And of course, I love card games and jacks and dominoes and checkers, and you know, uh, I learned all that stuff. So, but that was one of the games that was really interesting. Did I miss anybody? Are y'all still on live chat or are you on top chat? All right. It was stuck. My thing was stuck. So anyway, learning how to make soap, hoping to sell it. Yes, I have sold some soap, and I love making soap. Um, with us doing the remodeling on the house, I've got my soap supplies packed up right now. So I'm working on making an area where I can make my soap and have a little area that I can sell it also. So soap making is a lot of fun. Now, one of the most unique things that I love about making soap is not all the fancy soap, is taking raw beef tallow and rendering it down and making um, just like a 3 ingredient soap, an old fashioned soap. And, you can put fragrances and stuff like that. I do have some videos on some of the soap I've made on Little Wendy's Daydreaming. Um, Gummy says, amazing list when you started writing down all your interests, jobs, hobbies, and stuff. Yeah, you know what? I'm sure I can add to it. I'm sure that there's something I have forgotten, but um, and I may go over this list again. So if I get new people in here and y'all haven't heard it, I won't make you listen to it again. But you can also be making your list, and let's hear what you've done. Let's hear some kind of jobs or interests that you have. Doesn't have to be paid, doesn't have to be um, anything you did long term even. So, you know, we're in Oklahoma. We were raised in Carter County. All of us were born and raised in Carter County, and we lived there until 1969. Um, Diamond painting is mine and Linda's new hobby this year. Yes, we absolutely. I think you all saw this, that I showed it at the beginning. This is what I've been working on this week. I love diamond painting. It's turning out so pretty. And pansies is one of my favorite. Can't go wrong with pansies because you can plant them in the wintertime and still enjoy pretty flowers. But yes, so Gummy and I have been working on our diamond painting, and we really enjoy it. It actually is pretty easy. I was having a little bit of trouble with arthritis in my wrist with the knitting and the crocheting, so I had to kind of lay off a little bit. I'm left-handed, and my left hand was getting so bad. And it doesn't work real well when you're carrying buckets of feed and stuff for animals. So the diamond painting really is not very stressful at all, at all. So y'all can think about that. Uh, so did you, Marcia, you say you have lived in Oklahoma also? Um, I was born in Ardmore, and we lived in Lone Grove, which is Carter County, Wilson. And we lived along the 70 West um, highway. And, our parents are buried there, our couple of siblings and family members, lots of families still, and lots of families still in the area, in Texas also. Because Gummy and I are one of 9 children. And we are from the last spouse who had 6 children. And the other 3 are from 2 other spouses, older than us. And our oldest sister is 85. I'm gonna have to figure that up. So, and she lives in Texas, and she was a national barrel horse rider, and she retired at age 75. So she was really outdoors. I love the outdoors. But now in Georgia, the heat and the humidity is so bad. I'm not sure if I love it outside all the time. I still like to go fishing. I don't do bicycling and stuff like I can't balance enough to stay on a bicycle anymore. And Gummy cheats. She's got a tricycle. That's what I want, a tricycle. If I'm going to ride a bicycle, it's going to be a tricycle. You find my life very interesting. And I never thought of it like that. Hey, Sherman's Family Farm, nice to see you. We have just been going over a list that I made of jobs that I've had in my lifetime and interests that I've had in my lifetime. So definitely, if you're into catching the front part of the live, you'll go through all of that. I have a big list. That's a big list. That's as big as I can get. It's nice to see you. So if y'all don't know Sherman's Family Farm, please go over and check them out. So everyone here can say hi to you. And what's everybody's weather? There's some people, the spring is not here. You love your trike, Gummy. Yes, that's if I'm gonna ride one, I'll pay the money to have a tricycle. Except it's really hard to ride in a pasture. So that may be an issue. It might. So yes, but today I live really almost within an hour's ride of South Carolina border. And we are at almost 80 degrees today, but yet we're in the 40s at night still. So it's still pretty cool. Marcia, you said you hadn't lived there for years, but family does. Yes, I have family all over Texas and Oklahoma still. 74 and partly cloudy here in southern Oklahoma. Okay, hey, southern Oklahoma. I'm from Carter County. And so yes, you can't get a whole lot more southern than that. You're almost into Texas, aren't you? I still have family in Tishomingo and Ardmore and Wilson and Ringland maybe, and Norman and Guthrie, Duncan. I still have them all over Oklahoma. Carter County. You're in Carter County. Okay, I was born in Ardmore and I lived in Lone Grove for many years. That's where our family is buried, and that's where we still have cousins. So, hey, we're like neighbors. I love Oklahoma. I mean, it just, every time we go on a trip, we always stop. You have to stop and go to the cemetery and put flowers on your loved ones and, check it out. You grew up in Lone Grove? I cannot believe that. What a small world. Yes, yes. Um, I still have plenty of family in that area. That is amazing. Um, all of my life, I lived either Lone Grove or Wilson or Zanise. Oh, I bet you know where Zanise is. Nobody knows where that is. It's just a little. It's just a church and a school and maybe a grocery store. There may be more stuff there now, but there wasn't when I lived there. That's still great exercise. Yes, with the trike. Yes, Gummies trike it's a really nice one. Really nice. I pass there 3 times a week during watermelon season. Is that right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, if you go down 70, you go all the way to Bill's Catfish House. Oh my gosh. That's a place that I would just drive that far just to go to their restaurant. Some of the best catfish you ever had in Oklahoma. There is another place called McGee's that's really good, but it has really limited hours that it's open also. It's very good too. And they serve one of the best green tomato relishes you ever tasted. I've tried to can them before and I can't get it like they have them. Sherman's Family Farm. Yes. Oh, I don't know his first name right offhand, Donna. Josh. Okay. I was thinking John, but that's Josh. Okay. Nice and windy, supposed to rain tonight. Really? I think we're not expected rain until maybe a little bit Saturday, Friday or Saturday. So, I mean, it's to the point now. I've got to get what garden I'm going to do. I've been working on the bees. We got the tractor. It was stuck in the mud down in the woods, and we got it out. So I have no excuse now not to go outside and work. Only, yeah, I do because my daughter needs me this week, and she'll go back to work probably at home for a few weeks. So that's pretty cool that you live in the same area I'm from, Josh. Yeah, the only place what was the name? What was the gummy? What was the name of that place? ORR. That one of my brothers was born in Orr, and Jack and Gerald went there. They're older brothers. We were just littles in grade school. And the last name was Johnson. Yes, we got plenty of Johnsons in that area. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I had to talk to you more. I learned so much when we were doing genealogy. I started in 1984. Started doing genealogy. I turn in Ringland and pass or the same 3 times a week. Wow, really? Yes, I was married in Ringland, and my brothers, one of my brothers lived there, and that's where we raised our parakeets, was in Ringland. And all of his in-laws I think they still own most of that area there, the Nails. Um, but it's really a nice little place. I mean, it was then. Now I don't know what it's like now. Seems like someone said there's not much left there, um, but but it's actually a nice little drive down there 3 times a week. I've never met anybody that knew where Ringland was at, honestly. My dad and his first wife worked in an orphanage in Ringland. I actually found the records. Of course, the orphanage is not there any longer, but it was in the 50s. And I actually found my sisters, my two oldest sisters, on the roll because their parents worked there. They were able to get free food, free lunches and stuff. And I found my sisters on the orphanage roll, even though they weren't orphans. But that was in Ringland, Oklahoma. If you've never done, y'all never done genealogy, it is something to be really, I mean, it's very encompassing, and you can really get into it. I did a lot of traveling for that reason. We would go to different areas that I knew I needed to go to their genealogy library. And I learned a lot of stuff. That was before we had, in the 80s, there was not much on internet like there is now. And that was one of the reasons I did the census indexing, is because I wanted to know where my mother was in 1940. She was a baby, and I did find her on the roll. One of the rolls I did, I chose that county. I thought she was in that county, and I chose that county. And she was 4 years old when they did the census, and that was the earliest record I found of my mother. But I did that through indexing those census records. Well, that was a fun job. If you've never done that, y'all would love that if you like interesting handwriting and just knowledge, what people did, what they did to earn money, how many cattle they had. I mean, so yeah, it was really interesting to do that. Some of our people on my dad's side came from Ireland. Really, Annabeth? Oh my goodness. Yes, Gummy Doolittle is my sister, 2 years older than me. So she's of all my siblings, she's the only one that has an interest in YouTube. They may watch it, but they don't want anything to do with videos and talking. Okay, I was about to ask. Oh, you were? Yeah, yeah. She's older than me, but I'm taller. I'm taller. Always have been taller. Our father also worked with the Ringland Barnum and Bailey Circus as a security man. Yes, he did. That's right. But they would, apparently the story was, and I really should research that more with Barnum and Bailey, that was the where they camped out in the during the months that the circus was not traveling. So that was considered their winter home, from what I understand. And that's how the little town got the name Ringland. I can't remember what the name of it was before that. It had another name, but I can't remember what the name of it was. Um, Now I'm going to have to go research it, aren't I? That I can't remember. Um, my earbuds is fixing to die. I don't know where it is. I'm smarted. You're what? You're smarter. Oh, you're smarter? Is that what you was trying to say? Yeah, she's much shorter. Don't let her fool you. But I'm shrinking, so I don't know where we're at now. I, I'm shrinking. I'm sure I've shrank 2 inches in my lifetime already. Um, that's really nice. Well, gosh, guys, It's been fun. I've missed a couple of weeks, and next Wednesday, we have 2 more cattle to take to the sale barn. So, and they're bulls, so we really have to get them to the sale barn. So we're going to try again on Wednesday to get them in the trailer. They're pretty smart. They've managed to not get in the. We've been working at it for 2 months, and we've managed to take Um, 1, 2, 3, 4. We managed to take 4 of our 6 cows. And so we got to get these last 2. Sure, Josh says, I'm sure I know some of the people y'all know. Probably, probably. Um, one of the biggest families there was NELL, Nell, and they own a lot of land still in that area, I'm sure. And they did leases on oil leases, so they're very well known. I'm sure glad the good Lord got me here today. I am too. I'm very good. And I'm going to come over and check out your channel again. Now, listen, for you didn't hear in the beginning, even if you know you're subscribed to someone, and if you haven't heard from them in a while, go just pull them up. I have found so many times I have been dropped off of the subscriber list by YouTube, and then you just don't hear from them because it doesn't pop up and say that we got a new video or something. You're finished in the garden, Marcia. Oh gosh, I'm glad. I was good conversation for your work. I'm tired. I'm sure you are too. Gummy says the circus sign is still on the side of the road. There's a lot of information to search for and good stories about the circus. Yeah, I mean, we all love the circus, right? I mean, that was before we had fairs. We had the circus. Same here. It happens with the channels I'm sub to and my subscribers. Yes. And it is no fault of your own. Uh, I know because my 6 Acres Farm channel was unsubscribed to my Little Wendy's Daydreaming, which is my craft channel. I was unsubscribed to myself, and I visit that channel all the time. So it wasn't because I was never there or never watched a video. I mean, it's an active channel, and yet they still dropped me off. Oh, let's see. What did Marcia plant? Kidney beans, pinto beans, and black beans. Ooh, very nice. Pinto beans is probably my favorite that grew up on, was the pinto beans. I didn't learn about the kidney beans and the black beans until I went to California. But nice. Um, so yeah, we go over and visit anybody's farm that we haven't seen in a while. But I will, if I don't get back from the sale on Wednesday, I will do a pop-up on Thursday at noon, and try to keep, when you stop doing live streams, it's very easy just to be busy. It's like, well, I've missed it already. And you put it off, and next thing you know, nobody remembers you. Steers pay better than bulls. You know what? We have 1 steer and 1 bull to take, and the bull is absolutely beautiful. He is a Brahma and a Black Angus cross, and he is gorgeous. He's real meaty and stocky. He's gorgeous. But we took a little heifer that was 10 months old, and we got $1.75 a pound for her, but only 96 cents a pound for her mother. And I was kind of shocked, that, and the heifer, her mama was she's not even 3 years old, but the young one, she was beautiful. She was mixed with a Red Angus, and she was really a beautiful, her mama was Red Angus, and I mean, she was gorgeous. But we got a much better sale price per pound out of her than we did the others. Now, the big steer that we had that was 2,185 pounds, he was only $1 a pound. So go figure. you know oh, I enjoyed the chat too. Thank you so much for all of your help and all of y'all's information about what is going on. And yeah, think about it. Think about some of those jobs and interests that you have had that you can remember. Write them down. I have to write them down. I can't just remember them all. But I mean, we'd love to hear about it. Um, And so anybody who has missed um, some of the ones that I did, go back and listen to them. You'll be surprised some of the things that I have done. I mean, nothing really extravagant, but just some unusual things that I have tried. But anyway, I've never been an acrobat. And I didn't really learn to swim very good. So there are some things that I'm not good at. Yes, I admit it. So I'm going to let y'all go so you can get your lunch or get back to work. And it was nice seeing you all. And I hope to see you again next week. Just keep on planting, doing what you need to do. And I'm so glad that our new buddy, yeah, Josh, is good to see you. I'm so excited. So I'll see y'all next week, okay? Bye.